Hey guys, what's going on? This is Gum MVP with my third video, and we're going to start off by talking about some frame data. Now, I've been working on my parry game, and the one thing I started working on was Kestis, and when you examine frames for your parrying, you want to look at the startup, which is going to be 8 for the Kestis. You're going to want to look at your active, which is how many frames is it out. You want to look at your cancels, which you see here are roll cancel, move cancel, and chain cancel. And ultimately, you want to compare them to find which parrying option is best for you. Here you see parrying dagger is pretty bad. But anyways, Kestis, you look here. Startup 8, active 10, roll cancel. All these cancels are the shortest that you're going to find for every shield type, every parrying dagger, and the startup is 8. So it's really good. Here's a little bit of Lucerne frame data I threw in here just so you can show you guys what I'm working with here. Now in the bottom right corner you see this hyper armor. That's really important too. So keep in mind all this stuff. You guys can actually go back and pause it. You can check that out if you want. If you want the link to the frame data, just let me know. It's pretty public, so. But yeah, anyways, so when you're examining all that frame data, it's gonna tell you a couple things. One, it's gonna tell you which things beat what. And what I mean is, you know, if I know that a certain weapon has like I don't know, like 20 frames of startup, okay? Say you're playing at 60 FPS, that's like a third of a second. So say you have a third of a second to react, right, which is pretty hard. You can, as long as you have a parrying item that has an earlier startup, then you can parry on reaction, theoretically, right? So the reasoning that these things are important is because it shows you just why it's important to understand these numbers. Ultimately, you know, numbers are numbers, but you know what you're really trying to dig through that information to find is, you know, what are ways that you can stop your opponents from taking advantage of you in certain ways. For example, if you're aware, and like I went over earlier, I just went over, if you're aware of what frame an attack comes out, or which frame something comes out, yeah, you can parry it like I described, but man, you can also do so many other things, right? Now, just looking back at that frame data, you see that you can literally be at backstab punish almost every single parrying item that isn't either a small shield, which I think... Actually, I think you can still parry those, or backstab those. But you can't backstab a Kestis because you're going to be able to either roll out or just get out of it quick enough. And I don't know if you can backstab a parrying dagger. But anyways, when you can see those numbers and you see how your timings can be used to outplay your opponent's timings, and you can take advantage of different things like that, you begin to really grow in this game, I think. Now again, you have to take that, I don't want to say with a grain of salt. Again, you want to understand how weapons counter each other, how different items and tools come into play in this game. But there is lag, and you know, when you have to deal with any sort of input lag, you know, all those frames are, they're not thrown off in the sense that they're not accurate anymore. They're just, you know, they're not going to be in line with what you're used to every single time. And that's why it's so important, and it can be so frustrating, and you'll see me fighting laggy people time and time again. I just fight through it, but you know, having a crisp, clean connection is so nice. Here you see Dragon Slayer spear is so popular. My red hilted halberd is kind of not super popular, but pretty common for like I'm running a quality build here, so it's pretty common for this quality build. I'm not sure. I think that the Dragon Slayer spear is super good. I think it has so many tools, and you can just do so many different things at so many different ranges. Here's a big uh-oh. I wasn't sure if I was going to get that parry off. All of those charging attacks with the spears, they're all parryable, man. And you just saw it right there, but I didn't think I was going to get that parry, and I thought I did the half parry or whatever, where you take some damage and you roll. I was trying to roll out. I was trying to get out of the way and not just take a bunch of hits, and when I rolled, even though I got the parry, I couldn't get a punish in time. So yeah, anyways, whatever, I was still able to close that one out. I actually had some pretty interesting duels tonight, and I just wanted to throw this video together for you guys. And this duel in particular is something that, I don't know, it's kind of interesting because here you see me using dual charms. I'm really not a fan of not having a buffed weapon when my opponent does, especially if they're going to be great shielding and using a fucking dark sword. But that's beyond me. I'm just going to keep playing my game. I'm going to use my Perseverance, which I think is one of the strongest weapon arts in the game. And I'm just going to keep playing my game. Again, here, he's using... Okay, so I want you guys to think about this. He's using a Great Shield, and he has a Dark Sword. Now, the Dark Sword swings come out pretty quick. I could show you the frame data, but we don't have to do that. So he's sitting behind a Great Shield in this armor with the Dark Sword. He has no reason to be swinging on me, honestly, ever, but he has no reason to be swinging on me when he did. And I knew with my Perseverance, if he tried to swing on me, he would just eat a bunch of damage. And it's just like, if you're gonna make a build, you want to play to that build. When you see people walking around with a Great Shield, you expect them to turtle, not come at you with their Dark Sword R1. I know that the weapon is strong. This game's been out for a while now, and I've got it figured out pretty good. You're not just going to be able to turtle behind your Great Shield and smack me with your Dark Sword. Right here, I was thinking about the parry, and then he kind of cut himself off there. I think that also just might have been like a backstep R1, which is actually pretty good. There I get the parry again. The thing is like, it's just so predictable when they want to go for that weapon art. And I just give it a quick punish. And the Kestis is just so powerful for that. I mean, A, it's powerful because scientifically you can see the frame data and you see how quick it is and how hard it is to punish a Kestis that misses its parry. B, it's spammable. So you could say you miss the first time, you know, and you eat an R1, throw out a second one and catch the second R1, and you can usually get a parry. And the thing is when you're punishing with a big critical attack, like a parry or a backstab, your punish is almost always going to be bigger than the R1. Almost always. So this guy was super tanky. I don't know where all his health came from. I don't know what his build is. You know, I'm not so particular. I love having high health and everything. But man, I don't mind if I'm not embered. I'm okay with just fighting. Usually I'll ember, but I was actually on like a huge win streak, and I just didn't feel like mixing it up at all. I just kind of wanted to keep fighting, I guess. Here's really scary. So you see me get down super low, and I swear there's eventually going to be a duel in this thing where I die. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think I died this night, actually. But anyways, so I'm just in this awkward position, and I'm just going to persevere and just try to hit him with my halberd. And he's got this crazy weapon that's going to poke at me, and it's just so scary, and then I just halberd through him, and he just takes it. And I'm able to close out that duel. The problem is he was just a little too trigger happy with that piercing weapon, which, you know, some people are thrusting weapon, and you know, some people are all about that thrust. Okay, this guy was a complete asshole. He came at me with that thing, and I was like, what is this guy doing? Pulls out this sword, doesn't know how to attack, and just dies, just like that. Now, the Black Knight Glaive is really strong, right? I have pretty high AR with it. The Black Knight Glaive's obviously a strong weapon. Alright, anyways, that was a sorcerer build. At soul level 120, you don't really fight a lot of casters at all. You know, Pyromancy is definitely the most popular cast. Sorcery, not so much. You will see things like... Well, you will see cool sorcery builds eventually from me. I do plan on using the Homing Crystal Soul Mass, which is, of course, is like a super must. At least I think for PvP. I think it just like, it gives you, or it cuts so many of your opponent's options like just right away. When you have that Soul Mass above you and those little like, you know, those little homing things, it makes it really hard for your opponent to approach, because when you move, when he moves, you're always going to be able to put as long as you're focusing, put yourself at a range where he has to commit to something unsafe against those. And as soon as he triggers them, and you know that they're down, he knows that that's no longer offensive, so he can come in at you. And I think that's where sorcery really finds its problem, is things like cast time. Their tools are efficient, but only efficient in the moment, I think. And honestly, it's just some of the moves are so hard to hit. Like, some moves you just know are not going to connect with your opponent. You just know. And I think that's why I really have been preferring to play with halberds. Really like being able to poke. I'm literally using all of them. You've seen the Lucerne. You've seen this one. And of course, you guys have seen me using the red hilted halberd. I think that's like a super powerful weapon, especially with Perseverance, but I explained all that in my first video, so I don't need to really talk about Perseverance anymore. It's kind of like beating a dead horse. Ooh, big combo. Anyways, guys, remember this is Gum MVP, and I really appreciate you guys stopping by today and giving this video a watch. It's chill. I'm just here talking and rambling and listening to myself ramble and watching my PvP fights over and over again. But anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, everyone.